everybody, welcome back to Creating Hanley. I am Kimberly at Creating Hanley, and we are finishing up this Thanksgiving, Christmas, holiday season placemat. And I'm starting backwards. Maybe I'll try to work forwards. But this Christmas one is already done. This turkey one is the November block of the month. It's upside down in this video. This one I did not teach, so I'm going to see if I can teach this backwards. But we're starting at the finish, almost at the finish line, and then we're going to work our way to how we did this. So, this is my almost finished turkey block of the month, and I placed it. So I made my Christmas theme block here, and I made it extra big so I would have extra space to sew so this is the backing. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly, but this is the backing for my turkey placemat, for my Thanksgiving placemat. And when you flip over the turkey, you're gonna get Christmas, or just holiday, right? So it's a poinsettia in the middle and green on around. White, it looks like holly embossed, white on white, and red ribbon. So that's all. Nothing, like too whimsical. So anyway, I placed it. I just eyeballed it. I really didn't take a measurement. I hope it's squared up, but it's okay. It's just mine. So I'm going to take this over to the sewing surface, and we are going to get this done. So let me push this back a little bit. I'm going to start here. I'm going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance. No, I'm actually going to do an 1/8 inch seam allowance, and that might come back to bite me in the butt. You know what? It's going to come back to bite me in the butt. So I'm going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'm just going to start here. I'm going to change my thread length, maybe, or maybe not. 3 millimeters. So I'm going to do that. 3 millimeter. So I'm going to back tack it just to mark. And then I got to slow this down a little bit. All right. And it's going to get in the way, the camera. So anyway, all right. So 1/4 inch seam allowance. And what I did was I put pretty sides together because we are going to turn this like a pillowcase. Now I started at a wrong. Actually, to do this as a pillowcase, I started in a wrong position. I should have started in the center, but I wasn't thinking and I just was doing. So that's the problem. So don't do what I just did, because, well, it would be okay, but I have to remember to stop right here. In fact, I'll put a pin here so I know to stop right there so that I leave a little bit of space so I can turn this thing inside out. Okay. So 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around. Sewing right sides together, and you leave a few inches space so that you can turn it inside out. And I'm going to trim the excess backing. And I'm sorry if this starts to scratch. This may scratch the microphone, so it's going to sound fuzzy or scratchy. Apologize in advance. Oh, this is going to get wonky. This might get a little wonky. Okay, well, we're going to see what this finished product looks like. It might get a little wonky, folks. speed it up here a little bit, see if I can go a little bit faster. So this isn't the boring part. Yeah, it's the boring part for you. And again, sorry about the scratchy. Alright, now we're back to the pin. So I'm just going to back tack and take the pin out. And take this out. Now I'm going to trim all along here. So I'm going to take it over to my cutting surface, and maybe you can see that. Let me bring this over here so you can see it a little bit better. And just get a straight edge. Follow along my Thanksgiving. Just cut straight along that. So I cut off the excess Christmas. And yes, I made this bigger on purpose. I know it's not going to be a point. I already know that, and I'm okay with that. That's fine. Okay, now, here's my edge. Wait, where's the edge? Where? Now I have to find the corner that I didn't sew. Here it is. Okay, here's my corner that I didn't sew, so I'm going to reach my hands inside and grab. Oh, one thing you can do before you do that is to trim the corners so that your corners are more flat. All right, now I gotta find the corner where I didn't sew. I should have marked that, huh, guys? Yep. So here's my mistake. So mark your corner. Here it is. Mark your corner. And then I'm going to turn this inside out. This is actually has a term. It's called birthing the quilt. And poke out your corners so you have nice pointy corners. And you can use an implement to do that if you like. And so what you do here is curl this to the inside. So one thing you can do is finger press it open so that you see how these two sides meet right at this intersection, right where these two front and back fabrics meet. You want this to be flat. So one way I do that is you can take like a utensil. Here's just a marker. You can take a purple thing. You can take a pencil tip. You can take a turning tool. And I just draw that along the inside there to make sure all of those fabrics kind of lay flat. And I poke out the corners, so it's just a little extra insurance. And then finger press it, or you could take a nail. I don't have any fingernails, but you could take a nail so that it is flat. And you can see how this looks. I knew this was going to happen. I knew I was not going to have a point here, and I was okay with that. I knew that was going to happen. So this is on purpose. If you think, oh my gosh, I lost my points. Yes, I know. So that is my Christmas. And here is my Thanksgiving motif. Okay, now I want to turn these under so that I'm able to sew all the way around to lock this in place. So one way to do that is to grab your hot iron, and let's bring you a little closer here. And you can roll this under about 1/4 inch, because you did a 1/4 inch seam allowance. That's why I was like, in the beginning, I was like, I was only going to do an 1/8 inch. No, it's going to bite me in the butt, right? Because right here, it's going to be hard to get an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, especially when you have extra stitching here, when you have the batting, when you have already top quilted. It's a little extra difficult to do that. So give yourself some room and at least do a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Even 1/2 inch is okay. An 1/8 of an inch would have been difficult. Okay, now I'm just adding heat. I'm not adding steam, but you can add steam if you like. And then, so this is where the corner is a little bit more difficult. So you don't want to do that on the corner, but I did. So I'm just going to fold that under right there and iron that down. And fold the top and iron that down. But you want these two to line up as flat as possible. And mine is a little bit fiddly. It's fiddly, and you know I don't like fiddly, but it's getting fiddly. So here we go. I think I got it, guys. All right, so hot iron that in place. And if you want to, clip it or pin it so it stays in place. Now this is going to be a little wonky here. I can see that already. Okay. And I'm just hot ironing the edges so that they lay more flat. So when I sew the edges, everything is flat. Here we go. As flat as I can make it. And then if I flip it over, I can see there's just a little bit of white showing here, but it's not obnoxious. So there we go. All right. I like it. I like it. So if I just look around, I don't really see the white on the other side, and when I look at this, I don't see the fall colors on the other side. So we're good. I'm happy with that. The one thing I'm not happy with is this corner is very sharp because it's not folded over, and this corner, the rest of the corners are a little bit more dull. So I either need to poke those out a little bit better, and I can take my turning tool and try to do that if I want, or I just let it be. So I'm getting a little bit more sharper corner here. Now I'm probably going to have to come back and refix this side. So a little bit sharper corner. Be careful you don't stick if you're using a sharp implement, be careful you don't stick the sharp implement through the fabric and create a hole in your fabric. Okay, there we go. Now let's see if I need to re-iron this. I think we're good. I think we're good here. All right. Now, the one thing I will say is you want your thread to match both sides. So if you have completely different colors on front to back, then you want your bobbin color one colorway, and you want your top thread another colorway. I have a cream in, so it's going to be cream color. It's not exactly going to match this, but I'm okay with that. The bobbin, so I'm going to sew on the top this way, and the bobbin is going to be on the bottom. So just know how you're going to sew your placemat and have the corresponding threads to however you want it. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to take this over to the machine. And I'm going to start on this side. So this side is the area that I want to keep that's open, and I want to make sure that I close. So I'm actually going to start at this corner and just sew straight down and then keep going from there. Now, what I might do, so again, you can pin it. And I think I'm going to use my magical paper clips here. Paper clip it in place because I don't have wonder clips. So I'm just going to paper clip. Okay, so I'm going to start up here. And here I am only going to use 1/8 of an inch seam allowance because I want this to be as close to the edge as possible. You're closing this edge down here. This is the only thread that's closing this edge. This side, these sides are already closed. So I'm going to use 1/8 of an inch, or you can even use as close to the edge as possible. Even less than 1/8 of an inch. But I'm going to back tack here, and I'm going to slow this machine down a little bit. All right, and then this is going to get scratchy again. I apologize. Just know in advance it's going to get scratchy. I'm going to slow it down even a little bit more. Stop here. Be careful when I attach these two sides together. So already I can see it's not a straight line. It's a little bit wonky. I deviated the fabric when I folded it under and hot ironed it. So that's how that's going to be. And it's going to be mine, so I know I did it. Now this is catching on the equipment here, so it's getting a little wonky. All right, now I swing this around. Now this side is completely closed. And we can just take off from here. And I hear my cat in the background. She wants to play. She's bringing me a toy right now. And again, I apologize for this getting scratchy. We're just going all the way around. Right to the edge. Flip it. And can I get a little bit faster here? I probably can because it's already sewn down. However, I keep getting caught up on this equipment right here. So it starts throwing my placemat off balance. It gets a little cockeyed, a little, I don't know, yeah, cockeyed. Okay, almost at the starting point. And here we come, finishing up right at the end. Okay, and I'm gonna back stitch again and tack that in place. And there we go. So I'm just gonna trim this. And here we are. So there we go. Here's my Christmas or winter holiday placemat. And here is my Thanksgiving November holiday placemat. All right. Great. Now, if you wanted to add more quilting, you can. Just know whatever you do is going to be on front and back. So again, put your thread colors in accordingly. And I'm not going to do any more. It's good. So, but because I didn't do any quilting, This is separate. So I might have to do like something. I don't know. I'll think about it. But right now, this is done. For me, this is done. So here's the turkey, and here's the quilt block of the month is a wreath. So for November, we did the turkey, the Dresden plate turkey, and I kept that same theme for November, the Dresden plate wreath. Now, this was a 5-inch Dresden template with charms. This one is a 4-inch. So you can use charm packs if you want. Just know you're going to have a little bit extra. Now I cut 4-inch squares out of yardage, whatever flat quarters or scraps or yardage or whatever I had in all the greens, or as many greens as I had. So here's some right here. I cut 4-inch squares. So I found 6 greens that I liked, and then I cut 4-inch squares, and I found 6 of those. So I made 4 of these packs, or kits, you could say. So I made 4-inch of 6 different colors. Now, this is an odd number. So if you see, I had to do at the bottom. So let me show you where I started. So let me show you the pattern or the order that I used. I did this plain green fabric, and then the polka dot, and then the holly, and then this swirl, and then this leaf, and then this Christmas swirl. Those are the 6. And then I repeated the pattern right here. Same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got a fuzz. Now I repeated the pattern here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now this is where we started, and this is the end of the 6. So I had to add 1 extra in here. Oh my gosh. I got fuzzes flying around. So 1 is extra right here. So that's 19. 19 4-inch Dresden templates. Okay? So, so you're going to need, so what did I say? 4? I cut 4 of these? Well, that's not true, because I used 1, 2, 3 already. So what did I cut? 6? I think I cut I cut 6. Okay, and here's the others, and then I had to use 1 from here. Oh my gosh, you guys. So you're gonna need a couple of extra. So you can make 1, 2, 3, and depending on how many plates or placemats you make, or whatever project you're making, will determine how many little kits you make. So I used 3 of these 6-pack kits, 6-pack 4-inch kits, 3 plus 1 extra Dresden. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And then for the center, I just found in my stash, I just found some poinsettia fabric, and I thought that blended pretty well. And again, look at you can see that. And then the background here is just, maybe you can see that holly, white on white, and then a red, and I think that all blended together. And that's what I did. And then I just made that. So that's what I did. For this and this is the same method. Okay? Now you can use the background for the center here as well. So when I showed you how to do this, well, I sort of showed you. You draw the circle, you put your batting down, you flip it, you sew it right side in, and then you flip it around just exactly the same way that we just made this is how you make this. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. Anyway, that is the December block of the month, is the wreath, the Dresden plate wreath, the Dresden wreath. All right, you guys. I'm going to get off now. If you have any questions or if you're thoroughly confused, I can make a video on how to do this, because I actually have to do another one of these because I only did this one right now. Okay? So, if you like what you see, let me know. I'll be back with more soon. Bye for now.